Only NBA play I have for you today is on the Miami Heat plus the 11.5. I think that's still available. Couple college basketball games in the tournaments. Start off with Wagner and St. Francis in the Northeastern Conference. We went under 124.5 and 124 in the what other conference? In the Sun Belt Conference, we bet Georgia Southern minus 3.5 and 4. A couple other games for you. We also bet Xavier at -2, but that's gone. I think it's up to 4 now. I wouldn't really mess with it. We took Stanford minus the 1.5, and on the money line, we took 708 under 162.5 and 162 Missouri, Oklahoma. St. Joe's minus 10.5 and 11. We also took the 3 on Mississippi and the 13, 12.5 on LaSalle. So already getting involved in college basketball for.
Rudy Gobert was averaging 8.4 shot attempts per game recently, shooting 67% from the field because the shots are right around the rim, averaging 3 free throw makes per game in the last 10. That's big when you got a low point total like 9.5. And he gets a great matchup against the Hornets. The Hornets give up 23 points per game to centers. Like every setter just goes off on them. Draymond Green torched this total twice in the last few games against them. So Rudy Gobert over 9.5 points. They just don't have a ton of rim protection. I would expect to get him up and over this 9.5 point total. Oh, man, I love this one. This is going to be a client play. Milwaukee Bucks over 116.5 on the team total. Last 3 games, 127, 132, and 121 points. What's crazy about that point total is that in those 3 games, they're still not even like the number 1 offensive team. They're actually number 9. But that 132 points that they scored, that was against Dallas, and that's who they play tonight. We talked about Dallas just being ravaged with injuries, morale all-time low with them. Their starting lineup is so bad. And last game, I watched last game because I had a bet on that one. And once Kyrie went out, they were so demoralized. Dallas, they gave up 122 points to Sacramento in that game. I just don't see a lot of defense. They have Klay Thompson out there who can't keep up with anybody. Edwards is out there. Powell is going to have to play big time minutes. This is just going to be a nightmare matchup. Giannis is questionable. I don't care. If he doesn't play, Milwaukee's going to put more guys in there, and Lillard's probably going to have 40 on him tonight if Giannis doesn't play. But if Giannis plays, this is going to be a big, big win for Milwaukee, and I will take their over 116.5 team total. Let's talk Curtis Blaydes and Rizvan Kuniev. Over 2.5 rounds at plus money. These guys have a ton of finishes on their record, but I think their styles are going to cancel each other out. I think we might be in store for a wrestling match. Kuniev came over from PFL, tested positive for every steroid. So he had to take some time off there, Prez. He comes on Contender Series and fights an absolute nobody, knocks him out. So he's now in the UFC. Blaydes and Kuniev, I think they're going to hold each other up against the fence, and I think there's going to be a lot of pushing around and wrestling and grappling. Watch Kuniev do this in PFL against Renan Ferreira, where he just closed the distance and took away the big power punching. These guys do have a lot of finishes on their record, especially Curtis Blaydes recently, but I think this one at plus money is going to be pretty good to sprinkle over 2.5 rounds.
The Reds, we like the Reds here on the pick'em line. It's still, I think, at even money. It used to be plus 105. It moved down a little bit. It's now at even money. I do like Liverpool to not get beat here. I know PSG, they're doing well at home. They might get a lot of public money because, they're dropping 7, 6, 5 goals against anybody. But if you look closely, these teams are regional teams or teams that are just not very good. Now up against them is Liverpool, a team that's arguably played the best soccer out of all the top 4 leagues, top 5 leagues in Europe this season. Under a new coach, they're looking rejuvenated. They've only lost, I think, 4 games in the season, and there is a reason why they lost those games, because they didn't care. They used, in 3 or 4 losses, they used their reserves. Most of them were cup matches, and one of them, was they did lose in the final match day of the league phase of the Champions League, but they didn't even need to win. That's the thing. They put their mix between their second team and their third team, and they still almost beat PSV. So take those losses with a grain of salt, because Liverpool were not using starters. Now they're firing in all cylinders. Since you mentioned, Nick going to Turkey for a hair transplant, Salah has been just bowling since he did his hair, at the start of the season. This Liverpool side, they give me no reason to fade them. But PSG, I know they have a really strong squad. They're doing really, really well. But for whatever reason, PSG are chokers. They're major chokers in the Champions League. They only made the final once in recent memory. They usually get eliminated in the round of 16, maybe the quarterfinals as well. And this is a team that used to have Messi, Neymar, Mbappe, all in the same squad. They have Ibrahimovic, Cavani, for those of you, who remember. But for whatever reason, these guys are chokers. Now they do have a decent young team, but Liverpool have the experience, they have the talent, they have the history, they have a better coach, I think. So I think they're not going to lose this one. So give me Liverpool on the pick'em line, even money. I'm more than happy to side with this.
Well,
and this actually is a client play for me. Pretty simple. I like Bayern Munich money line minus 135. There's a double read in this match, because Bayern Munich, they didn't win. They didn't beat Leverkusen in each of the last 6 matches, and I really struggle to remember the last time that Bayern Munich didn't win 6 or now 7 consecutive matches against anybody. And these teams, they met already 3 times this season, twice for the Bundesliga and once in the Cup. Of course, Bayern Munich didn't win a single game, and all 3 went to the under. So I expect a lot of things to change here. Of course, if you believe in history, you can still fade Bayern Munich,
Right.
but there's reasons. There's a lot of reasons to. This is also a client play of mine. First of all, the Champions League final is taking place in Munich, in Bayern Munich's home ground. So whenever you have a team that's that knows that the Champions League final is at their own venue, they go above and beyond. Now, second, they're playing at home, which is really, really a really strong atmosphere. And Champions League play is different than domestic play. And I know Leverkusen won the domestic double last season, but last season was Bayern's worst season in half a century, probably. This season, Bayern Munich, as I said, they didn't win any of the 3 matches they played against Leverkusen, but there are reasons for that. In the Cup, they met in the Cup. Bayern Munich's goalkeeper got an early red. It was an ugly foul, and it was actually his first red of his career. The guy's like 38 years old, so take that with a grain of salt. And in the other match, it was a goalless draw in Leverkusen, but Bayern didn't even need to win that one. A draw was enough to keep Leverkusen 8 points behind. So Bayern Munich are on track to win the domestic title. Now playing at home, one of the best and strongest teams with strong pedigree, especially when playing at home in the Champions League. I like Bayern Munich money line minus 135. First of all, the Europa League final is in Bilbao, so I like, as I said before, I like the team that's that plays. That the final is played in their home ground to progress as much as possible. Now, Bilbao, they've scored in all their away matches except 2, and one of them was against Atletico Madrid over the weekend, which was a distraction, and the other one was against Mallorca, who's always really hard to score against. So I do expect Bilbao to get in the score sheet. Now, Roma, they're playing at home. Roma know that they have weaknesses when they play on the road, and they know that the second leg in Bilbao is going to be a nightmare for them. They're probably not going to win, so they need to win at home. Now, they've been really good at home, scoring 2, 3, 4, 5 goals against anybody. And these two also met in the same venue in the league phase of the Europa League, and it was a 1-1 draw. So I think this match easily starts at 1-1. Don't care who wins. Give me both teams to score. I think this is an easy play for Thursday. And I must say that I do have a 5% for the Europa League on Thursday. And I have a 6-pack actually for today with 4 Champions League plays, all 3%, 1-4% tonight in the CONCACAF Champions Cup, and 1-3% in the Copa Libertadores. So 6 plays for today, 1 best bet, and 1-5% top bet. It's a money line in the Europa League. I took one team to win tomorrow in the Europa League.
Sepp is a winner already this season, Prez, at the American Express.
Wow.
So he's turned it on, really, as of late. And listen, I'm going to give a full honesty disclaimer. I don't think Sepp wins this tournament. I really only think there's 5 or 6 guys that probably have a legitimate chance to do so, but I do believe he's got a good chance to be on the first or second page of the leaderboard. So that's what I'm recommending here as a top 10 or top 20 wager on him. He played well last week at the Cognizant Classic. He finished tied for 11th. That's his 6th top 15 finish in his last 8 starts, including that win I mentioned at the American Express. His iron game is really up there with the top players in the world when you look at the strokes gain data on him for the last few seasons. He doesn't hit it long off the tee. That's what kind of holds him back. But his driver accuracy, very, very good. And this week particularly is supposed to be 4-inch rough, so staying in the fairway will be paramount. He may gain a few extra strokes off the tee just by being in play and not losing those strokes in the rough. The only negative on him this week is his history at this event is just simply not good. He's got 5 starts. 4 of those are miscuts. And his only time he made the cut, he finished tied for 57th. But hey, the Sepp Straka of old is not the Sepp Straka of new. And last year, I'll compare it to somebody else that had a similar course history. Shane Lowry missed 4 or 5 cuts to start his career. His best finish was a 67th. He led or co-led every round last year until he ultimately finished tied for 3rd. So anything can happen. But Sepp Straka is playing well enough right now that I think he's going to be in the mix. So top 10 plus 450, top 20 plus 190, I think are both good ways to get some money on him this week. Already a 3-time winner. He's got 1 on the DP World Tour and now 2 on the PGA Tour with his win in his very last start, which was the Genesis Invitational a few weeks ago. So honestly, going back-to-back for him for his starts, it's going to be tough. But Bay Hill is a very, very tough course. I already mentioned how deep the rough is, and it's got very, very fast greens. Fairways are a must to be able to keep approach shots on the green. And I just think Ludwig has the skill sets needed to win here. He's long off the tee. The course is about 7,400 yards, so that's very important. He's excellent with his irons. Last year, he finished 20th on tour in strokes gained approach, particularly from 150 yards and longer, which is going to be the main iron play this week. And when he does miss, he ranked 21st last season in strokes gained around the green. So he's got that all-around game where he's getting off the tee, he's hitting greens, and when he does it, he saves it. He really covers all the bases. And the last part I like about him is par 5 scoring is absolutely key here. Tiger Woods made a career at Bay Hill out of just eating up the par 5s. Last year, Scottie Scheffler won the tournament at 15 under. He was 12 under on the par 5. So Aberg has the length to attack them this week. I think he's going to do everything well this week again. Yes, going back-to-back is tough, so back it up maybe with the top 10, but I think he's in the mix on Sunday. I think he's going to give us a chance. And this is his 3rd time playing this event. His first 2 were top 25s, and this course does take a few trips around it, let's say, to kind of get that course knowledge. So I think he's kind of gotten that monkey off his back as well. So Ludwig, I think, is going to make a good run again this week. Par 72, that means even par for the tournament is 288. So 12 under or lower, and we're going to win. I guess I should say higher. 12 under or higher, and we're going to win this bet. If they get to 13 under, that would be a loss. So let me explain here. Last year, I mentioned Scheffler. He reached 15 under. He won that tournament by 5 shots. So he was the only one even close to doing so. Obviously, the recipe to attacking the par 5s is key here. And I mentioned he went 12 under last year. I mean, that's ridiculously good. That's near perfect. And I just think it's unlikely to happen again. And if you look at the results of this tournament going back several years now. So over just the last 6 years alone, only 3 times has the winner even reached double digits. And of those total 6 years, only 6 players total reached double digits under par. And before last year's Scheffler 15 under, the last person to crack 13 under was Rory McIlroy, 2018. So we're talking about one guy in the last 6 years of this tournament that's actually cracked this number. So the odds are in our favor, right? 275.5. You go over that total. Go on.
Why is this not a client play? This seems like a no-brainer bet to me.
Nobody said it wasn't. It's in my pack this week. I just given it out here for free on the show, and I'll have a code to give you the rest of them too. But
there you go.
The course I mentioned, it's more difficult this year too. It's longer rough, and then the last curveball you have is the wind is supposed to be a major factor both Thursday and Sunday. We know that just affects scoring negatively too. So I really love this total and over 275.
Yeah.
I just don't think anybody's going to get in there. That's it.